working? They're not working? Are they?
Yeah, you're working absolutely fine. So, hey, how are you, mate? I haven't spoken to you. Well, that's a lie. I have spoken to you on the phone.
You're a liar.
Yeah. But I haven't actually had you on a recording for ages and ages and ages. So, yeah, this is really cool, mate. And we had a bit of a chat this morning, didn't we?
Yes.
Because we're super excited because you've been doing a lot of investigative work into nodes. You've been my little
As
guinea
I
pig.
do. You love it.
I do, mate. I do. I really do. It's fascinating because I
It is.
very briefly, I think I watched a video, not all the way through, because there's a little bit of thing going on about two different. Is it not two different networks? There's only one Bitcoin network. Two different ways, two different node types. Is it the Bitcoin core and what's the other one called? Begins with
Yeah.
N. Begins with N, I
There's
think.
another one. Yeah. Uh,
Knots. Knots.
Bitcoin knots, exactly.
That's it.
Which,
Yeah.
yeah, that's it.
Which, uh, mate, the what you've told me is the most I've learned about nodes. To be fair, so I I don't know, but what I picked up was what was the general consensus that you've got two node apps type things.
Yes. Yes.
And at the moment, there's a lot of talk going on about possibly one wanting to do one thing and the other one wanting to do the other, but it's only talk at the moment. So I don't think there's any
Um,
advantage over running one more than the other at the moment.
I
I
don't
don't know.
know that if it's Bitcoin Core or Bitcoin knots.
Hmm.
Uh, I I did see some videos that they say Bitcoin knots. It's a bit head up. It's a bit better. I would know, but for people, we'll go back a little bit if you want to.
Yeah, mate.
For
Yeah.
people who haven't done this ever, and maybe they've looked into it and they're not sure, just like me and you know, I didn't know what it was. I just, looked into Bitcoin. And at some point, obviously, going through Jeff Booth and going through all these Bitcoin meetings and gatherings that they were in Prague in 2025, this year, or last year in 24, 23, and you go through them and you realize the philosophy and you realize what really Bitcoin is supposed to do. Why is it there? What's going on with the fiat system? And as I said, and as we said so many times, for a gold or silver bucket, Bitcoin will be no brainer because you already understand the fiat system. You know it's not right. You know it's going sort of down the drain and this and that, and need a hard
Yep.
asset behind it. Right. So you get that. That's you get to that layer one, and
So,
then you're thinking, right, go on.
yeah. So I was going to butt in because I forgot that probably the last time you come on, you wasn't really into Bitcoin overly. You sort of
I
was
wasn't.
stepping around it.
Yeah,
So
yes.
I'm going to ask you, just for an audience point of view,
Right.
what 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 happened? Why the transformation? Why are you so? I don't want to say into Bitcoin because it makes it sound like you're into a cult. But what what
Yeah.
what has sort of brought you round to the possibility that Bitcoin's a thing now for you?
Uh, the philosophy behind it. It screams democracy all over the place. It screams free will. It screams with the people, for the people, because of the people, this and that. It's that pure, at least I believe to be so. Because not everyone does. But as soon as I was convinced of that, I was thinking, I was blind. And I was mind blown, you know, like, wow, what are you telling me? I'm gonna be free now. Nah, it's not gonna happen. And I looked into it a little bit more and was still skeptical, But that is the point where it got me to be a little bit more curious.
Yeah.
And when you go down that rabbit hole and you try and look up as much as information
Yeah.
as you can, and you realize this is really a digital gold hard asset
Yeah.
that actually it can be controlled out of the system by the people, by the majority of people who's owning it.
Yeah.
In very simple terms, to say that would be a definition for me. But
That's a bit of a turning point for you. Can I just say hello to Jeff? Jeff's just joined us as well. I don't know if you can hear us.
hey,
You all right, Jeff? Hello. Are you there, dude? Oh, maybe you can hear us. I don't know. I'm not sure. Sorry, Darth.
that's all right.
Oh, so that was a bit of. I I can remember the conversation we had when we spoke on the phone, and you
Yeah,
was like, "Oh my god, oh my god!" It was almost like you found a new religion type thing.
I
That
did.
wake up. What have I been doing? What have I been doing? Why did I ignore this? No, it was really cool, man. Really cool. And what I'm really pleased about is you found your own way.
Kind of. Um, I always, and I think there's a lot of people like me with precious metals that they have been looking into Bitcoin for maybe years, but something happened at some point that you didn't go into the next step forward for one reason or another. Now, that might be life, that might be, everyday life, just little problems, work, family, this, that, whatever, whatever. And it keeps you away, that spinning wheel that you're running, it keeps you away from stuff, from real stuff. And it just passes you by and you don't realize. And sometimes you do when you wake up one morning and you're thinking, yeah, okay, I got to go back. I got to do that. I want to look into it. And you get a text message from your boss or from your wife or from your kid or whatever. And that's it. Next week, you know. But I think, I think uh, that's what I did. I just stopped. I just stopped and I said, right, this might be a train. Let me just go into it. Let me
Yeah,
just ride it and let's see what's going on because apparently um, it just might be the next financial system.
exactly. Exactly.
So
I think Jeff has just rejoined us.
okay.
Can you hear us, Jeff?
I was listening in. Sorry, I
Oh,
was
that's
getting
cool. That's cool.
so I joined on
Hey,
mute.
hello, Jeff.
Hello, how are you, Darth?
Yeah, not too bad. Nice to see you. Nice meeting you finally.
Same here, mate. Nice to meet you. I just popped in and listened to the tail end of what y'all were discussing. I don't want to interrupt. I'll keep listening to keep the flow going.
No,
But
no,
yeah,
dude. This is, as you know, it's a bit of an open. It's just an open chat anyway. But it's really cool. It's Darth's. Have you spoken to Darth before?
I don't
No,
know that we have. Maybe we have.
we haven't. We haven't.
No,
Okay.
Not yet.
Darth. Well, Darth will tell you. It's been. I've known Darth for quite a while through the silver and gold common shared interest, and Darth hasn't been on. Although we speak offline quite a bit, Darth hasn't been on a recording or anything for quite a while. Everybody, and he we've been talking on and off about Bitcoin, and we was just sort of doing an overview for anybody because I'm recording this, obviously. that Darth has found the Bitcoin at long last in his own way, and he was just filling in on that little bit of a ha moment for him, you know.
Well,
Yeah. So,
everybody finds it in their own way. But yeah, go ahead, Darth. Congratulations, by the way.
thank you. So, you get to the first layer, you find democracy, philosophy, principles, this, that in Bitcoin, and then right away you go into it a little bit and you find out that there's a first layer, BTC blockchain, the initial thing that's been done by Satoshi, which is a group of guys that some of them disappeared in weird circumstances and some of them being arrested in weird circumstances, and you get all conspirational and you go down that line. Okay, you relax, you go back, 2 steps back, go 2 steps back, look a bit at big picture, and you're realizing, hold on a minute, let's leave conspiracy out of this. This can be the next financial system. It just might be. Countries adopted it. Some princes from different countries and some institutions, banks are going into it. Right. And going forward, I discovered that in order to make faster payments, this is very long story short, in order to make faster payments on the blockchain, they created a second layer, which is the Lightning node.
Yeah. Yeah, and it
And
supports smaller payments, and it supports offline payments without internet connection.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So that being said, I went right. So what they done that? Because they need faster payments, this, that, this, that. Right, okay, yes, fair enough, we need that. And then only to find out that actually at some point you have to run a node, as in you have your own node on the blockchain. On top of that, you can just, via Bitcoin Core, you can install um, after that the Lightning node, and then you open up a few channels and you actually sustain the so-called grid, and you're actually part of the whole blockchain, and you are there validating
Yes.
payments. And at some point, sometimes you can get 3 sets here, 5 sets here, 10 sets here. You can also get a little bit of fees if you approve, whatever.
Yep. Yeah,
I've just
I run a node, but I don't run. I run a different version of Bitcoin Core called
okay.
Knots, and
Yeah,
Knots
yeah,
is more independent and more orthodox to the Bitcoin standard. And
yeah,
the older versions of Core are as well, but the newer versions are trying to spam the network with extra data on every transaction. The purpose for that appears to be to monetize the network in a different way. That's the
yeah.
disclosed purpose, and maybe it's for KYC, maybe
Mm-hmm.
it's for nefarious reasons, but the network has responded overwhelmingly negatively towards that change, and that just goes to show the power of running a node is that you get a vote in Bitcoin.
Exactly,
Yeah, so you got to run a node. Darth, do you
exactly.
do you run a node?
I do, and I
Okay.
also installed today LND, so the
Yep.
Lightning Network, and I have a wallet there, and I can see the transactions going in and out,
Yes.
and everything. Right.
Yeah,
Uh,
and through
but
Tor you can access your node with your connected wallet and conduct a transaction that is completely uncensorable.
mm, yeah, to be fair, this how I've done this. So there are different ways. Whoever doesn't know, there are different ways you can do this. This is a I've done it in a sort of do it yourself. I didn't go for a complete system, Raspberry Pi or whatever it's called, Start 9, those little mini PCs that you have to
Mm.
pay 600 to £1,000, but everything comes installed on it as it is, and you have very nice apps and applications that you can control your stuff and this and that. I haven't done that. I just took my 5-year-old, 6-year-old laptop, which is an for whoever knows, AMD Ryzen 5. It's not really top of the game, but it's a gaming laptop
It
from
works.
2020. It
Yep.
works just fine. I copied the blockchain on an external hard drive, SSD, and that was it. Install Bitcoin Core, install Lightning Node, done. Right.
Yes.
And that's what I've been doing. Um, Andy can confirm. Right, because I was keep sending him pictures. Look, I'm here, I'm doing it. Look. At first, I've done it through Start 9, which is more of a Linux um,
Yep.
operating system.
Yes,
Uh, but
I run a Start 9. That's what I run.
okay, that's good, but I can't. I didn't like it. I was not familiar with it. I never used Linux and such, so I was always on Windows. So now everything I have is on Windows 11 with Bitcoin Core and Lightning Node and so on and so on. But it gave me, you know, that feeling that I'm part of it and
Yeah.
I'm there with everyone else and I have a go at this. And if this becomes the next financial system or whatever, I'll actually have a vote comparing to now, where with all the democracy and all the liberty and all the philosophy behind, you're supposed to, but actually, not really. We don't have a say to what banks can do, to what politicians really are doing, and this and that. And you know, uh, for people actually who went into precious metals, like I said, Bitcoin will be a no-brainer. And as soon as you realize that you actually can be, you know, right there, independent, and make your own decisions, at least with this, because maybe with something else, not really, but hey ho, it's okay. It's all right. And I'm so glad I'm part of it. I couldn't believe it. And I didn't know what I've been doing so many years. Why didn't I look into this a bit more?
You know, that's funny you say that because I think everyone that gets into Bitcoin seriously has a similar feeling of why did I wait so long? It's but it's a journey everybody has to take on their own in their own way, in their own at their own pace and at their own timing. And the financial gain will come naturally to the early adopters, and we're still really early. But things move fast these days. And so the speed at which this will continue to gain momentum will increase exponentially, kind of like a snowball rolling down a hill. And but welcome aboard, first of all, and send me your through Andy, send me a deposit UTXO into your node, and I'll like to send you some sats to say welcome to the space.
Oh, really? Come on. You don't have to do that.
No, I'm dead serious. I'll shoot you 1,000 sats or something and just say, hey,
Oh,
welcome.
Jesus, look.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do the same, Darth, as well. If
Absolutely.
Oh,
you
wow.
send us a unique UTXO number,
Yeah,
yeah, we'll get it going.
generate a receive address in your node
Yeah,
and copy and paste that to Andy, and he'll get it to me, and
Think it
I'll hop on and send you some sats. Yeah.
might be wrong, but when I installed Bitcoin Core, I think they prompted me to create a hard wallet, isn't it?
Um, you're creating a hot wallet, yes, on your node, but I don't use the. You have to have a hot wallet when you run Lightning, but do you have a cold wallet?
I've, I'm not sure because I was
Um,
going to go with something like Ledger and stuff like that. But
yeah, that's okay. So let me just make a few suggestions that in order to interface with your node, You can use a cold wallet interface called Sparrow, which is open source.
Yeah, I know
And
Sparrow. Yeah.
yep,
Yep.
I run Sparrow for an
Okay.
interface, and then on cold storage I use Cold Card, and I also use Ledger. I have a lot of cold storage devices because when I went to the conference, everybody loaded me up with them, and then I've had them from before. But I really love Cold Card, and so if you're gonna like buy it once and not have to worry about a third party application ran by a company, Cold
Okay.
Card and Sparrow is a really good combination. The Cold Card will never need to be updated or connected in any way to any physical device. And if there's certain security features that are present in Cold Card, like if the PIN code is entered incorrectly a certain number of times, it actually burns the
Yeah.
uh, the seed,
Okay.
and it's never connected. I It's completely air gapped, and it uses a camera as well as its own screen. So when I need to scan a QR, I scan it, my cold card, and it readies that transaction. And I'm ready to sign. I can show my signature through my secure connections and through Sparrow, which interfaces with my node. And so my data in my transaction isn't going through anyone else's filters. I'm literally
Yeah.
directly connected to my node, and I can remote connect to my node from anywhere in the world through Tor.
Yeah.
I can just
Yeah.
hop on and pull up my Tor address, sign into my node, and then sign into my Sparrow wallet. And I'm interfacing with my node wherever it is from wherever I am. As long as there's internet, I'm good, which is super nice. And then the other feature that's nice about Cold Card, it allows you to add a 25th word to your seed phrase. And that
Yeah.
word can be any word. It doesn't have to be a BIP 139 word. So it can just be a word that maybe is unique to your own vernacular that you don't really think is common or people wouldn't know, or just any one password. You can add it. And there's nothing in a cold card that indicates that that word is necessary. You just have to know to put it in. And then if your
Yeah.
seed is ever exposed for some reason, no one can sign a transaction without that 25th word.
Hmm.
So it's another layer of protection. So
Yes.
I would highly recommend you getting Sparrow, and
And cold.
you would generate from your cold card a brand new seed phrase and 25th word, which I recommend you do. And
Yeah.
then you would have a bulletproof setup, man. Really, really nice.
I'll tell you what, I was a bit confused because, as I said, I tried to run this on a Start 9
Uh-huh.
uh, at first, and I had to flash on a USB the Start 9 operating system and then install the blockchain. And it went on for about 10 days. Uh, I didn't like what I saw, as in, I was just on a server online. I didn't had an interface to play with really. So that to me that was a bit
Oh, okay. Yeah. So the way I interface with my Start9 is through my computer. I log into my server through my local area network. I just plug an Ethernet cable direct
yeah,
into my router, and I access my server that way. And
yeah.
I'm all good to go. I use Windows, or excuse me, I use iOS. I don't use Windows, and my
Oh, okay.
Start9 is using Linux. And
Yeah,
there's just some configuration settings, and there's
yeah,
plenty of tutorials on YouTube about how to do it. The Start9 is a
yeah,
good setup. If you have it, maybe try to fire it up and run a second node, and then instead of doing a dump from a hard drive, um, I think Start9 comes with an operating system from Linux installed. Once you, well, let me just pull up my Start9 real quick. I'll tell you. Just going to log into my node real fast. Give me just a second. Going to log in. I'm gonna log into my node while we're talking here. Let's see. Yeah. So, once you download Knots, which is open source, you just
That's the
configure
main
Knots. Yep.
change I gotta do as
Yeah.
well.
And then Electra
Uh,
Server, if you so your node can be discoverable. It actually
yeah,
supports the strength of the network. And then, download Mempool or whatever.
yeah,
And you can choose a block or monitor a transaction. And it's pretty simple. So if you're struggling, look online for tutorials. I do have uh, a company I've worked with called the Bitcoin Way,
hmm,
and I can send you a discount code if you want to use them. And they help with all of this, as well as security, estate planning, and disaster planning, and everything. And so, if you're interested, you
yeah,
know,
possibly.
burn a
The,
message.
what,
If not, no, they're not cheap. Okay, they're not cheap, but
yeah, but if it's worth investing, it's like,
yeah, I just ran through the service myself after Prague, and so I've been talking to them for quite some time
hmm,
online. And I finally met everybody in person in Prague. And first of all, they're all real Bitcoiners. They don't have
true.
like employees that are not Bitcoin. They're all real Bitcoiners. And so
That's right.
they all know their stuff. And I have a back channel on Signal with them if I have an emergency, and they'll walk me through anything. It wasn't cheap, but I tell you, it was worth every penny. It was
Hmm.
worth every penny. Yeah. And they only take sats, but it was the first time I've ever used Bitcoin for a significant purchase other than a little bit here, a little bit there, because I just usually have a one-way street. It comes in, it doesn't go out. And yeah, and so I paid in the sats because I appreciate it, but I don't regret it. I guess I do not regret it. And if you wait a few weeks, that price will go down in sats because we're in a bull market now.
The thing I was going to say is that I've done the first attempt. I've done it about 2 weeks ago with Start 9. It didn't work out for me for one reason or another, or whatever. I I wiped out everything and started from scratch 3 days ago on Windows 11. And this morning it was all done. And a couple of hours I installed the Lightning node and they prompt me to to open a new wallet and this and that. And
Yep.
they said, yeah, you could go through Thor, or you can have an app that will let you manage a little bit more interface friendly um, your blockchain, your channels, and whatever. And which I haven't done yet, but I'll do it tomorrow, and it will be
Yeah.
actually done and dusted. But the laptop is running, the node is running, the channel is open, it
Yep.
is getting approving stuff, and it has connections in and out. The most,
Using Sparrow will be really easy for UTXO management.
yeah,
It's really nice. Again, you'll need to configure some settings. And I'm not an IT guy, so I mean, I'm
me
not a
neither,
tech, I'm not a tech guy. Um,
me neither.
but it does work, and it works exceptionally well. I have done a lot of transactions now on my own node, and uh, man, I love it. I just like with Ledger, the problem with Ledger that I ran into was sometimes they'll shove you in a slow block and your transaction will
Hmm,
stall for like 2 hours. And it's such a
hmm,
pain in the ass. But when you run a Sparrow wallet, through your own node, you actually get to set your sat rate so if you see a block with a low sat rate, like 2 sats, you can like turn it up to 8 sats, and that'll push your transaction through a lot faster. So when I was able to operate and do transactions in Sparrow, I was able to get my stuff done really fast. But in Ledger, it's a snail's pace. And then my exchange is pretty good. I don't It doesn't take long for my exchange to send stuff or to receive it. They're pretty good. But on my end, having the control over my SAT cost. And if I want to do a super cheap transaction, I don't mind if it takes 4 hours, then yeah, I have the ability to do that, or I can light speed that thing, and up my sat rate
Yeah,
and make sure it
yeah,
gets the absolute next block and I'm good to go. But I have that control. It's like I'm really driving. It's like you're finally like not just holding, you're participating. It's nice.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I was, so I was going to ask you something. This is a bit, and I'm sure whoever's going to listen to this, I think everyone who just started on Bitcoin, just like me, or they've been looking into it since God knows when, and they finally, okay, let me just grab this, let me just do this. But I was going to ask you something because so this is how it goes. Um, in order for Bitcoin, yeah, to really get out there, I'm not saying it's not. It already is. Banks are doing things. Different states are doing things. Yeah, we've seen Czech Republic, Venezuela, and Ecuador, and so on and so on. And banks are buying it as well. So clearly, that's done and dusted. We know where it's going. It's fine. It's okay. But I heard so many people, real Bitcoiners, saying if you don't spend it, it's not going to go out there so fast. If you just keep on buying it and buying it and buying it and keep it to yourself, we really have to start sort of using Bitcoin. Now,
I
that,
agree with that, but but Bitcoin has it has three real use cases, and there's different camps that think that only one of the three are important, and some people think all three are important. And one is it's an investment. It's safe, right, for investment. Number go up. The other is
yep,
it's a store of value, and the
yep,
other use case is a unit of account, right? So uh, designed to be a peer-to-peer, permissionless, trustless system of transacting. It is, but I don't always need to use a peer-to-peer system like that. I think I'm okay using it. I just don't usually travel in places
yep,
where I need to or I could. But I'm not, you know, for me, it's
yep,
like I have a very large allocation to Bitcoin. And so, if I were to buy a house or whatever, I'm sure I would sell a little Bitcoin to do that. But I'd prefer to buy the house from another Bitcoiner where I could do some of that transaction or the whole transaction in Bitcoin, or buying a car, or I think if I bought a plane ticket from Emirates and they're taking the Bitcoin and I get a discount, sure, I'll just send the Bitcoin and get my ticket. Yeah, that's not a problem. Yes, it does.
okay,
It does need to be used, and the small transactions are great. There's a social application called Orange Pill app, and on that app, you sign up. You have to pay for the app for the
yep,
membership because they don't sell your data. I know the founder of the company. Um, he's a nice guy, by the way. Um, that app serves as a social networking mechanism for other Bitcoiners, and you can actually do Lightning transactions on that app, or Lightning like transactions on that app. So you can
right,
actually
okay,
have a wallet and do send sats
yep,
to someone else just because they're a member, and then you can send from that app to your cold storage, or from your cold storage you can load that app with sats. So
yep,
I used the Orange Pill app when I was in Prague. I liked it. It was cool. I liked it. It was just like a partitioned layer where I knew I could load a certain amount, and that's when I'm going to walk around. I'll buy a beer or something with it.
yeah,
Um, and I did. I was in a place with an open bar, but the waiters at the conference were accepting tips in Bitcoin. That was awesome. So everybody, we all tipped
brilliant.
well in Bitcoin. Yeah, it was fantastic. Yeah, it should be used. It should be, but at the same time, it should be used sparingly. But you're a metals guy, so you get it. Like,
Yeah,
should we
yeah, yeah,
use gold and
exactly.
silver? Yeah, I wish we did, but we don't. So
We
because we
don't.
I have to use the currency of the realm right now. And when I can
But
extract extra value from that current system, I will store it in metals or in Bitcoin. But um, yeah, every silver guy would love to do a deal for silver with another silver bug. Sure, we do it all the time. Absolutely. It's like, hey, yeah,
the thing is, as
yeah,
you already know, right, gold and silver is here for thousands and thousands of years, and everybody knows it, and everybody trusts it, and everybody, okay. uh, I think at some point Bitcoin is going to be there as well, just as gold and silver, and even I think it's going to be even more powerful. That's why I was so excited into getting into all of this, and be part of it, and just even if I just have to support the network and whatever,
yeah.
just do it, just be there because it's important. Every little guy that gets on board, I think it matters. It can matter at some point, at least.
It really does. I think the my bear case for Bitcoin is that it ends up on par with gold at a fixed exchange rate, and I don't know what that ratio is, but I think that
Yeah,
market cap, the total market cap of above ground gold is estimated at like 23 trillion right now.
yeah.
And I think Bitcoin gets there. And then if it passes it, I don't know. The
I think
maxes
it
will
will.
see it's going to pass it, need it, and everything. But the use case for gold is still very valid, and it's not going away. And I think Bitcoin is additive and supportive of gold. I don't think it's a competitor. That's the way I
No,
see it.
definitely not. Definitely not. Of course not. But what I was
But it,
thinking, that's why I asked how are we going to manage this spending? And one one particular thought from Jeff Booth stu-
okay, yeah,
just stands in my mind when he said things like, well, if Bitcoin goes the new to be the new financial system, think about it. 43 trillions of assets, manage all of them in Bitcoin. You only need 0.10%, 0.10, Bitcoin, and you'll have 4.3 million in fiat currency, pounds, dollars, whatever.
in today's purchasing power,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah, yeah. In today's purchase, obviously,
yeah,
looking at how things are today.
yeah,
Uh, to me, that was like, hold on a minute, every set will count. And I'm sure beginners like me will think like that. Well, I'm not going to spend Bitcoin because at some point, if this becomes the financial system, then 0.10 Bitcoin actually might mean a lot. But then
absolutely.
again, yeah, in order to get there, you'll have to do a little bit of spending here and there. So, just reiterating, this was the dilemma, sort of.
Yeah, well, I mean, I normally don't spend it, but anytime I can support the community or the movement by using it, I do. And case in point, I'm going to send you sats as soon as I get your address. And
Oh, cheers, mate.
there it is, like it's not that I'm unwilling to use it. It's that I'm
Yes,
hesitant to use it in a way that isn't supportive of
yep,
the integration of this new technology into the global markets. And so I tell you what, I mean, I travel a lot. Yeah, I live in different places. And sometimes getting a
yes,
bank account's a real pain in the butt. Sometimes paying a cell phone bill or whatever, it's just a pain in the butt. And to just wiring money from my US account to a bank in another country can take days. It costs $50. It's, I got to listen to someone on the phone ask me a bunch of questions about, what's this for? And you have to play the game. Otherwise, they flag you and shut you down and freeze your bank account. So
yes,
I don't want to be debanked. So I'm my own bank. I was my own bank before Bitcoin with the metals, and I'm still
yeah.
my own. I just added Bitcoin,
On
and
that.
because we're so early, though, we're going to see a windfall from taking the risk. And so the profit you make by holding Bitcoin is commensurate with the risk that you take by adopting something that is so new and so unknown and so misunderstood.
Yeah, yeah. On that, I was going to say that there's another thing that, convinced me a bit to go with Bitcoin. I've seen all these videos and all these problems from backyard bullion, 365 days of silver, and so on and so on. Big guys from the precious metals community in the UK, where they kept saying, "Yeah, banks are watching your gold. Penn State know. Atkinson has to report how much gold you bought. Charles has to report how much gold you bought, and this and that." Uh, you get questioned. I got questioned at some point from a purchase. Why you buying? Are you sure this, that? I answered, hey, this is Royal Mint. What's wrong with you? Come on. And all those little things. And I was thinking, right, uh, I don't want to be conspirational. I hate being conspirational. But the real truth is government, states, banks are looking into this as well. Let's just
Well,
see who's,
yes,
you know,
and so I mean, let's just assume for a minute all the conspiracies about Bitcoin are true. It's a cabal of globalists that created it, or aliens, or whatever, time traveler.
yeah, yeah,
It's,
yeah,
con-
yeah,
it's controlled by the big guys and they monitor everything. Well, they're already monitoring everything anyway.
yeah,
And see, you can't, realistically live your life without surveillance anymore. It's just impossible. So
exactly.
once you accept that, then you say, well, then how should I live? I should just do what I do and don't care. And I don't break the law. I pay my taxes, and that's the price that I have to pay in order to not live the rest of my life in a prison cell. So, I try to pay my taxes and be free, and I have to live under the authority of a government wherever I live, and
Yeah,
you have
yeah,
to
yeah,
obey that authority, and that's always going to be the case. But but yeah, you might the sooner you get on, the better.
yeah,
I mean, everybody's coming anyway. They're going to be forced onto it, especially through the stablecoin act that's coming.
yeah. I think,
One,
yeah,
one,
yeah,
1 year from today, 1 year from today, most people in the global West will use a form of a US dollar stablecoin on a mobile device and will not bank with a bank anymore. That's my
yeah.
that's my guess.
We're going digital anyway, isn't it? In a
Yeah.
couple of
Well,
months.
you better believe it. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in October, November, whenever they said CBDC is going to get launched, one way or another, making a digital euro, making a digital pound, a digital dollar, so on, so on, so on, so on. So it's
Okay, I
coming in
gotta
October,
I gotta move
November.
indoors. I
That's
gotta
all right.
I'd hold on.
So that's coming. So obviously, we're going more and more digital with coins, with all kind of different digital coins. And at some point, as soon as people will say, well, hold on a minute,
Yeah.
some of these coins can be printed. Which one cannot be printed? Bitcoin. Oh, okay, I'll go into that a little bit. It's gonna be, yeah,
Yeah, that's the
uh,
whole point. Yes, the stable coins, yeah, the supply of stable coins is not going to be even knowable because they're not going to be
they
from a
say that.
yeah, it's not going to be from a single source. It's going to be from multiple. There's going to be like thousands of stable coins, and
Wow.
they'll be there. I mean, I've been looking at the legislation from the Genius Act coming out of Congress, and now we're finally getting to see the details. Anybody can make a stable coin. If you make a US based stable coin, your corporate headquarters have to be in the United States. The
Yeah.
rules state and that 100% of your issuance needs to be backed by US treasuries.
Yeah.
Uh, there's a 90-day duration rule there. I think it's for treasuries under 90 days. So you have to hold
Right.
short-term treasuries. in order in the amount of the stablecoin issuance you have.
Right.
And they're very serious about that. So think of in America, Amazon, Walmart, YouTube, so like Google, Facebook, the big
Yeah.
ones. Amazon will have its own stablecoin, but you'll be able to spend that at Walmart. They'll have a way to convert that immediately.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But how many you don't know how many of those are in existence. So the prices may in fact be going up and you don't know why. It's because they're printing too many stable coins. Every time they print a stable coin, every time you take a dollar out of a bank in the US,
Yeah.
um, that dollar was created by the government selling a debt, a treasury,
Of
right?
course. Of
And so
course.
when you take that dollar and you turn it into a stable coin, it produces another treasury.
On top of
It's
that, on top of
it's
the
a
initial
yeah,
one.
that's right. It's a double print.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a double print.
So
So
sweet.
so everybody's like, oh, the big beautiful bill prints $5 trillion, and they got 9 trillion in long duration or 10-year notes or whatever that got to get converted. 10 sevens and fives that got to get converted this year. Where's 14 trillion coming from? It's going to come from the stable coins, but the second order effects for non-U.S. people is if I'm in Albania right now. So if I'm in Albania and I make olive oil and I export my olive oil to the United States,
Yep.
when I sell that olive oil to the U.S., I get paid probably in a stable coin. Sorry, move real quick. I get paid in a stable coin. And if I get paid in that stable coin and I live in Albania, how the hell do I use it?
Mm.
So if my company says, well, we don't want to use it, we're going to buy US Treasury bonds instead and convert some of that stable coin into our local currency. Okay,
Right.
maybe you can convert some of it into local currency, but maybe your corporate treasury is going to continue to do business in the US, so you've got to have some treasuries. The non-US people with sanctions, the big beautiful bill, the Genius Act, and all the rails that are going down, non-U.S. institutions holding treasuries are going to be taxed when they get those gains at a
Of
rate that's
course.
going to make them not want to hold those treasuries. So they're going to want to hold the stable coin, which means they're going to want to be able to use the stable coin. And so already in many countries I have traveled to, on Telegram and social media channels, there are people reaching out constantly saying, I will give you cash for stablecoins.
Oh.
I couldn't figure out why, other than because these people they don't live in places where they can't buy Bitcoin. They can just
Mm.
get an exchange account and buy Bitcoin. I think a lot of them are trying to get no KYC Bitcoin, and that's why they were
Right.
doing it. Or they were trying to do something else where they realized instead of having tracked by a FedWire or pay Western Union fees, I can just send this to my friend, you know,
Yeah.
on a cell phone in 5 seconds for
Yeah.
nothing,
Yeah.
free.
Yeah.
So the usability is already there. So let's say the world's companies doing business with America start getting paid in stable coins. Well, they're
Mm.
bringing those stable coins back to their own economies, and those stable coins are going to displace their local
Yeah.
currencies. So where I'm at in
Exactly.
Albania, the Albanian lek is, it stays on par with the euro for the most part, but it shifts sometimes, and sometimes it can get beat up. And people here are obsessed with cash because of the history of the country. And so when I tell
Yeah.
my driver that a year from now you're not going to want any of that cash, he thinks I'm crazy.
Yeah.
But I finally explained it to him, and he's starting to get it. Is that at some point all the tourists that come here, they're gonna have stable coins, and
Yeah.
they're gonna have to go to an exchange and give that exchange stable coins digitally in order to pull out the local currency. When people figure out that the exchange rate for those coins is going to be in favor of the dollar through the treasury printing, right? It's going to displace all of the small country currencies very slowly at first, and then all of a sudden,
Yes.
and it's an
Yeah.
end run currency war attack on every central bank and every government system that lives in the global south. So if you're in a
Yeah,
developing country, your local currency is going away.
exactly.
It's going away fast. And so right now the dollar is low. It's undervalued on the world market at the moment. The Dixie's, down, and it may
Yeah,
go lower, but you had better be loading up on dollars if you're not buying Bitcoin and gold and silver. You better be loading up on dollars while they're cheap because as soon as it reverses and goes the other way,
yeah, 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 yeah.
everyone's going to want the dollars. And that
Exactly.
and right now you can't get dollars in Albania. You have to pay the exchange rate to get them. But when people realize that they prefer the stable coin, this is already happening in Bolivia. This is already happening in Argentina. This is already happening in other countries.
Unbelievable.
This is it. They're all going to want the damn dollar. So you say, well, we don't know how many stable coins they're going to print. And so that could cause inflation. I think the other thing to consider is that the inflation happens when the amount of currency units in circulation is growing faster than the goods and services offered in that economy. And so, for example, when there's four apples on the table and $4 exist, then every
Yeah.
apple's a dollar, right? And then when we print four more dollars and all we have to do is buy apples, all of a sudden every apple's worth $2, right?
Mhm.
The print of the currency is a way of denominating the value of the goods and services in the
Exactly.
economy. It's not necessarily a representation of the inherent value of a fiat currency. So when the rest of the world is demanding dollars and those national banks and those currency systems and the regional banks in these countries are collapsing, because everybody's running to a dollar. They're first of all, every time they get a U.S. stablecoin wallet, they're essentially opening a bank account at the Federal Reserve. Third of all, the supply of the currency can inflate by an order of 10 and still not be
Mm.
able to service all of the demand because
Yeah.
all of the services that are going to be transacted in Africa, Latin America, the Balkans, parts of Eurasia, Eastern Europe, parts of Asia. That's all that economic activity, all that money velocity is going to be in stable coins. The other thing is it is surveillable. So you'll have an AI computer being able to real time record and process and analyze all stablecoin transactions, which will give, for the first time ever in humanity, a
Mhm.
central assuring authority complete omniscience over the supply and velocity of the money. And so
Yeah.
it's actually worse, but
It will
be-
be.
because of that draw, business being what it is, many big businesses won't want to settle for stablecoin because they won't want the surveillance or the limitations or the expiration or the whatever.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
what they will settle in is Bitcoin.
Exactly. Exactly. I think we're going there. Now, very serious question. I hope just listen to this. Do you think Andy fall asleep?
Go, mate.
You there?
Yeah,
Good.
mate. Yeah, I'm listening away. I mean, it's really cool that used to. I don't know whether Jeff knows that. Tell him where you're originally from.
Yeah. So yeah, Jeff, I'm Romanian. I'm a very proud Transylvanian.
I knew you'd laugh.
Is my Orthodox
He won't fool
brother
me.
from another mother.
Hey.
Sorry, I had to throw that in. That's why I've just let you two talk because, yeah, you're over here in the UK, obviously daft, but obviously Jeff's over in that part of the world as well. So
Yeah. I just spent a lot
Yeah.
of time in Serbia before this. And before that, I've been spending time in Hungary, Poland, Turkey, Georgia,
Oh, there you go.
Azerbaijan. Yeah. And
Yeah.
yeah.
so
I
it's
love
really
my
cool.
Transylvanian brothers, though, too dearly. Some
Yeah.
great people. Yeah.
I'm
Sorry,
originally from Transylvania, so you can understand. I had my babushka all
Yeah.
the way. all the way. So yeah, but it was cool. It was cool. It was all
Have
right.
you heard my joke that the most powerful weapon in the Balkans is
Yeah,
the babushka with a broom?
yeah, exactly. It still is, mate. It still is.
Dude,
You're not playing around with that.
people do not understand, man. People don't get it. Yeah. It's the almighty power. Or
Yeah.
why girls need to wear a dress and high heels everywhere. And yeah, the guys wear tracksuits and look like gopniks, and
Yeah, yeah,
the girls look like they're going to the ballroom dance.
yeah,
And
yeah.
that's just to go grocery shopping on Tuesday.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll tell you what.
I,
Um,
I knew you two would get on.
yeah, Romanians are really into crypto. Not into Bitcoin a lot, but a lot into crypto.
Yeah.
If, I mean, how would I put it? In every major city you would go in Romania, if you go in town center, you will have Wi-Fi 6, hundreds of people streaming Netflix or whatever, on a very well connected network.
Yep.
Uh, and they've done that because I'm getting a bit conspirational, but I have to. I don't have a choice. And they've done that very good networking because just a couple of weeks ago they launched the chip ID, where everything it's a small chip with all your data, all your sort of NHS,
Hmm.
social security number. It's a
Yeah.
password as well. It's a bank account as well. And they
Get your
urging you, come now. If you're coming in, you'll get 30, 50, $100 for free.
oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
It's
And
happening right now in Romania. So,
when the digital currency goes live and the people from the
mm,
village don't trust it, all they got to do is say, well, for every euro you put in, we'll give you a euro 10,
yeah,
euro
yeah, or things
15.
like that. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, and they'll all just come and get and the grandkids, that live in Bucharest are going to go back to the village and say, "Grant, come on, Grant, come on, Nona, you got to get this." And and because I mean, even the Roma, the street kids here have a smartphone, and they have a
yeah,
shitty
they
old
do.
one from a tourist, but they still have it, and they go to the cafe and get on Wi-Fi and check their email and have an Instagram.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
people don't understand the reach. There's smartphones in Africa everywhere. You can charge a phone in places where most people haven't seen a car that's been produced in the last 25 years. You can still charge a smartphone. Everybody drives like a 50-year-old Lada or something. Um,
Mm,
maybe an oligarch comes through in a G wagon every now and then, but like this, like out in the middle of nowhere, still making home wine and everything. And there, yeah, smartphone, Starlink. I've seen
yeah.
Starlink in all kinds of places. Yeah, it's coming, man, and you know it. And you're right. Like at some point, you say, I've just got to participate at a level in the tech world the way I did in the metals world, and
Mm,
that's find the real store of value and cling to that. That doesn't mean I don't use the stable coin. Of course I use the stable coin. Right? I gotta pay for the cab. I gotta pay for dinner.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
yeah, but the gold that stays in the kitty. It never comes out of the
Exactly.
yeah, yeah. And when I can add to that, I add to it. When I can stack, I stack, and that's my savings account. And then if one day, something big happens, you gotta burn off the stack. You do. I mean, that's just
Yeah.
life. But
We also, sorry,
no, go ahead.
we also have to play around with the new technology. We have to listen to the technology. We have to be part of that as well. Otherwise, you won't be able to be part of Bitcoin, this and that. I had so many problems with now with installing Start 9 and everything. Guess what I've done? I went on ChatGPT, and first question I asked, I said, of course I knew he will know. I said, do you know Bitcoin? He goes, Oh, I know everything there is to know about Bitcoin. Oh,
Yeah.
perfect. How do I install
Sure.
Startline on an AMD Ryzen 5 series? This, that. Oh, that's really easy. You need an SD, external hardware, this, that. Do you want me to give you the link? Ah, brilliant. And it went on and on and on until even with Windows, I wiped the Start9 operating system, as I said. I went back to Windows. I went back to ChatGPT to say, hey, I want to install this on Windows 11. Can write down a few steps? And he went, yeah, this. I went on YouTube. I checked like this. I saw some videos, blah, blah, blah. But the thing is, it is right there, isn't it? Bitcoin, it will always go hand in hand with technology and with
Right.
everything that happens on that field.
Yep. And when an AI from Amazon is trying to interface with an AI from a factory in India that
Right.
makes like 500 of their products, that AI is going to prefer to settle that trade imbalance or that invoice in Bitcoin because it knows it can do it and it knows that it's verifiable. And so the
Mhm.
AI will trust Bitcoin more than it'll trust anything. The other thing, the nation state actors will trust it. That's why the hash wars are so important. That's coming up, the mining wars and the hash wars. When Iran got bombed by the U.S., we didn't go after reactors. We didn't go after um, centrifuges for highly enriched uranium. Um,
Yeah.
it- we knocked out the mining operation for Bitcoin. That's why the hash rate went down when we bombed Iran. We attacked the Bitcoin mining operation. They're mining Bitcoin in those caves. They also have nuclear programs. That's true. They have nuclear energy. That's true. They have, some 60%, you know, running around, and they could go up to 90. It's still a big journey from 60 to 90. Yes, they're 99% of the way there, but that last 1% is huge. That's neither here nor there. The point is that I know firsthand of at least 9 countries now that mine Bitcoin, either directly or through government controlled corporations. And there's a race for it, and it's happening so fast. Some of the guys that started it were all these smaller countries because they were never at the center of the monopoly. They were never the beneficiaries of all the money laundering and the foreign direct investment and NGO program money that was used with strings attached. So they were the first to embrace Bitcoin because they knew that they could benefit from it. So now the big
Yeah.
guys are involved and the game's about to get crowded, and yeah, knocking out another country's mining ability drops the hash rate so you can mine more blocks. Yeah, and nationalizing Bitcoin mining is going to happen probably in America. There's going to be, it's a matter of national security. We have to have these miners running, so everyone else will have their power out, but the Bitcoin miner will still be going. It's that important. And
It will be.
yeah, and Max Kaiser can, if you've heard of him, he's
Mhm.
been talking about this for since the very beginning of Bitcoin, and he believes that at some point, Bitcoin removes the need for the banks completely, and
Yeah.
becomes the backing for the money, and removes war and removes all the profit in war. And there's probably some validity to that.
It,
But I
I
think when
think
it
it is.
reaches that point, um, I will be far long gone. Um, I think I will have been. But Darth, I can assume from your um, screensaver you're not Orthodox, but were you raised Orthodox?
Well, I'm not Orthodox, and but I'm very close to Orthodox. My screensaver just says I'm a very big Star Wars fan. That's it.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm
If
not. I'm
you're
not
if you're
Orthodox, but
Orthodox and a Star Wars fan, then you realize that most people don't understand who the good guys in Star Wars were.
right. Yeah, 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 yeah. Fair point. Fair point. I
And everybody gets
was not
mad at me when
born.
I say that. Yeah.
I'm really sorry. I've got to jump in there.
Uh-oh, here we go.
Born.
Let's
I've got to
go.
jump in
Oh my
there.
God.
What do you two guys mean by that?
Art, do you want to take it?
Well, let me say this so whoever's listening understands what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
I
don't worry
was
about
not
who's
born
listening. I'm listening. I want to know.
right. So I was not born Orthodox, but I was born Greek Catholic.
Okay.
I'm Catholic, right? So, but then again, then again, when you look into Star Wars and when you look into all the Force and you see the Sith as being the bad guys and you see the Jedi's being the good guys and this and that, and both of them, they actually going for the same goal in one way or another, living forever. The Siths are just like uh, more earthly. They want to do this here on Earth. The Jedi's, they don't care about this plain sight, Earth. They still want to live forever, but if it's another plane, if it's another galaxy, if it's another parallel universe, they are fine. Mainly, that's what most people really see. But then, when you look at the last episode, episode 9, and you see this girl that inherited uh, physically and to the genome, uh, the dark side, because the big evil guy Palpatine was her grandpa, but she inherited as well all, let's say, the positive teachings of the Jedi. So you have everything in one, everything. So eventually, when you realize that, you're thinking, hold on a minute, the Emperor was right. You have to look on the dark side a little bit as well if you want to understand a large understanding of the Force and what's going on up there. So, uh, yeah, I know most people think, yeah, the Sith are bad and this and that. Well, okay, but there's something good in there as well. The Jedi are all good and this and that, but because of the way their own system was built, just like the fiat currency, at some point it collapsed. So it's more than just good, bad, Sith, and Jedi's, and it's a bit, it's a lot more. But what?
Originally, Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader were built as an analogy for the Father, Son, and the Force being the Holy Spirit.
Yep, 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 yep.
And um, yeah, so I know, I think I know exactly where this technology goes and exactly how it gets there. I don't know the timing, of course, but I know that the end result will be I have to take some type of signal of association with a beast system of control over humanity,
Hmm.
physically body on my right hand or my forehead, and that I won't do that. And for that, I'll be killed. And I have no reservations about that whatsoever. I'm perfectly happy with that. Happy to die for not taking the mark. I will not do the biometric tracking. I won't
Yep.
do a wear. I don't. I won't do a wearable like an Apple Watch or anything. Um, I wear a Breitling. I'm old school. Um,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. That's
Can I
where it goes.
can I
But
jump in?
that could be 25, 30, 40, 50, 100 years from now. I still have to
Yeah.
provide for my family. And I
Of
still have
course.
I know where the threshold is where that technology crosses a line, but until it does, it's still permissible.
Can I just
It's
jump in a
true.
second?
Yeah.
Yeah, can we have your take on Star Wars, Jeff?
No, that's it right there. That,
Oh, right,
that
okay.
Darth and Luke were supposed to be the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, but it's a twisted recitation of it's a twisted representation of Orthodox Christianity morphed and manipulated to make you fear the patriarchy, which I think is the natural order in the world, and people that resist the patriarchy or a hierarchy of patriarchs resist the natural order and do themselves great harm as a result. I'm the man of the house, the head of my family, but my immediate family, but my father is still living, so he's the head of me, and then for that family, but the head over me spiritually is Christ himself. And then I can get the advice I need from my priest, but I don't consult women for men's problems, and women shouldn't rule over men. And I think it's a sign of judgment on people when children are their abusers and women are their oppressors.
I'll tell you one thing. I am 43. I was born, sorry, 44, just went into 44. I was born in 1981, and I believe I just might, not just in Europe, all over the place, we just might be the last generation that really was raised like that. I don't think nowadays um, that gets implemented sort of into the, you know, newborns. And it's not gonna, I don't think it's gonna happen anymore.
I
And
I agree, which is a prophecy. It's a fulfillment of a
yeah,
prophecy that going to win.
also it goes very well with the fourth turning,
Oh,
doesn't it?
absolutely. It ties
It's
right in.
perfect right there. So
Yes.
then we're done, we're fixed, we know what's gonna
That's
happen.
it. That's it. And it's all by design, and it's all unstoppable. Um, but we still have our own individual free agency inside of that history being lived out. We all have responsibility for our own decisions. And so to say that
You-
everything is predetermined is used by Calvinists a lot, and that what that ultimately does is if everything according to a Calvinist truly is predetermined, then everybody's completely sinless because they had no choice.
right?
And I've met evil people and I've met nice people, and I know for a fact they had a choice, and so I am not a fan of the hyper Calvinist, you don't have any choice or say in the matter. And then
Yeah, right. Yeah,
there's some people that take the very similar approach of manifesting for themselves positive or negative energy through their
mm,
thoughts and their actions. I think there's some validity to that philosophy. I think I would part ways with it at some point, but there is validity to that philosophy because your thoughts become words, and your words
yeah,
become actions, and your actions become habits, and your
yeah,
habits are your character, and your
mm,
character chooses your destiny. And so you have to be careful what you think, because that's part of you becoming who you are. And so there's some validity to that. And I don't want to dismiss it out of hand. I know Camel's huge into that. And
yeah,
I don't want to disparage him in any way. I don't want to insult anybody's belief system, but I don't jettison my own at the same time. And I'm okay sitting with people who believe differently and still being their friend. Like I'm
yeah, yeah.
totally,
Of course, of course.
yeah.
I'll tell you what from my personal experience. Like I said, I'm Romanian, and I'll say proud Transylvanian. Yeah, and you know where I'm going with this already, right? But why proud Transylvanian? I was raised like that by my dad, which was a half of an intellectual. Let's put it that way. Uh, I was raised like that, but at some point where you come to an age in the fifth, sixth grade and you read history and you look into the Treaty of Trianon and this and that, and you know what happened to Transylvania, and you realize actually, hold on a minute, this man was part of Austro-Hungarian Empire. What's going on with this education? Hate the Hungarians. No, it's wrong. It's not. It also counts a lot in all of this. Who you're meeting with, where your destiny takes you at some point to some history teacher that tells you, Darth, just look at this a little bit. You're only 12 years old.
Yeah.
You might understand things different. So then I took a different path of whatever,
Yeah.
my family told me about Transylvania. And on top of that, at some point, I just told my dad, I said, listen, Mom is speaking perfect Hungarian. What's going on? You've got, you and my mom, you've got both a lot of gypsies in the family. What's going on? Since when we are proud Transylvanians? F
Well,
off. You know what I mean? Yeah,
yeah, I do. Yeah,
there you go.
that a crisis of identity. And it's like so important, especially to a young man. It's like in our DNA to say, where do I belong? What, who's my tribe, right? And I think that's been disrupted for most people. You had just said it in the younger generation now. That's been incredibly disrupted in most places in the world. Some places it's pretty strong, and that's not the case, but especially the West, the global West, that's been disrupted. And so there is no real identity. There's kind of a crisis of it, which sets the stage for the conflict of the fourth turning to take place, the
Mm.
end result of which being that people are given a new identity that they can latch hardcore onto that emerges from that tumultuous process. I just don't know that that identity, although it will be common, I don't know that it'll be good. I
The
hope
thing
it,
is, if
yeah,
you, I think, I just think, I believe, if you go down that pathway and at least be open minded and be truth to yourself and discover where you're coming from, actually, not what you are told. Um, uh, uh, Remember, I was born in 1981. I was told I'm a descendant of Dacians and Romans, and
yeah.
all my life I hated Romans as a child because they beat up the Dacians and they killed my ancestor and this and that. And I believe with all my heart and my soul that I'm a proper Dacian, proud Transylvanian, this and that. Right, okay. And then at some point you get to an age where you look at yourself in the mirror and you see yourself, hold on a minute, I'm a little bit black. What's going on? Okay, my mom speaks Hungarian, I've got gypsies in the family and this and that. Well, I'm not a Dacian, am I? God damn it. but but
Now
you
what do
go
I
through
do?
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Now what I do, but you go through that and you realize, okay, this is what happened. This is real history, right? The the uh, the what you call it, the Austro-Hungarian Empire came over and ruled Transylvania. We got a lot of the good things, and then we went together into a monarchy, which was influenced a lot by Turkey and Greece and this and that. And we have all those three cultures: Hungarians, Turkish, Greece, Macedonian, yeah, and all of that. You get it into Romania, and you have
Before
those
they were
kind of
Greeks and
people in you.
Macedonians, they were Illyrians, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah. And you have this in your genes and you have this in your blood. So then you're thinking, oh, okay, okay, I know where I'm coming from. I'm no special than any other Balkan, really. So there you have it. It's all right. But as long as you get to that line, make some understanding where you're coming from, where you're going. The greatest
Yeah.
question of all time. Who said that? I think it was Kant. I think. Um, uh,
Prince
yeah,
Vlad?
where you're coming from, where you're going to. Yeah, Immanuel Kant had said that, didn't it? But all this going back, because we don't want to rampage on things that you know. Um, but going back, all of this will matter, ties ties up with the fiat system, ties up
It,
with what you are, what you want to do, where you want to go.
yeah, it does. It does. It does completely. And the more, just to stick with your example of, I thought I was Dacian, but maybe I'm Austro-Hungarian, and
Mm,
no,
mm,
maybe I'm Visigoth, and no, there was an uncle that came down from Sweden, so maybe let's, if you just keep turning back the clock, you all end up on Mount Ararat in Armenia,
mm.
and you're all the
Yeah,
sons
yeah,
of, and every man is your brother, and right.
yeah,
This is pre-Abraham, right?
yeah,
Pre-Abraham. So pre-Jew, pre-Muslim, pre-Christian,
yep, yep.
origins of as came from a single ancestor. Therefore, every man is my brother, and every woman is my sister. And the powers that create fiat currencies and rob people of their stores of value and their savings and enslave their children
An
and
identity.
yes, they also rob you of your true identity as a human and force you into a tribal construct to get you to kill other people for their profit.
Yep, yeah, that
And the
makes
only
sense,
way,
doesn't it?
yeah. And so there was this movie in the 80s called War Games with Matthew Broderick, where he hacks into a supercomputer. It's an AI, right? And he just
Yep.
wants to play like a video game,
I've
but
got
it's,
just, can I just say it? Do you want to
yeah.
play a game?
Yeah, that's right. Would you
That's
would you
it.
like
Ah,
Hello, Professor Falcon. Would you like to play a game?
That's
Yeah.
it.
It's Matthew Broderick think he's just playing this game called thermonuclear war, but this computer's at the Department of Defense and it's tied to all the missiles. And he's about to launch a big fucking missile strike, and it's going to be World War III. And so Professor Falcon, the guy that wrote the AI originally, comes down to reason with the AI and challenges him to a game of tic-tac-toe. And the computer runs through all the simulations and realizes that it's a pointless game. And the only way
yeah,
to win is not to play the game, which is the moral of the story. And that's the way it works with fiat and war. The only way to win is not to play the game. I refuse to participate in harming other people for the gain of third parties. I just refuse to
yeah,
do it. But it doesn't make me a pacifist, because I will harm someone in order to prevent harm of an innocent party. Like, I'll still come to the defense of the defenseless. I will still defend my family. To a
yeah,
large degree, I would defend myself, but probably not as much as people would think. Um, if you go to rob me at an ATM, I've said this publicly many times. I know it's going to come back to haunt me one day. But if you go to rob me at an ATM, I'll just ask you to put your gun and knife away. I'll tell you, I'll just withdraw my max and hand it to you, but don't commit a felony for me, dude. Like, if you're
yeah,
that desperate, I don't know why you're that desperate, but like, I don't want you to commit violence because of that desperation. Like, I feel
exactly.
empathy for you. I'm going to walk you to the ATM. I can give you the 40 quid I got in my pocket, but I give you a lot more if we just go to the ATM. So put the gun away and I'll do that. And then when we're done with that, I'd like to buy you dinner,
Mm, yeah,
because
yeah.
I
Have a
like,
chat. Maybe we can be friends later.
that's right. You crossed my path for a reason.
Mm,
Right? All the people you were going to rob, you robbed me, right? If there's ever a message from the God of the universe to you that you are valued and that you are loved and that you are worth something higher than what you're doing, it's for you to meet me on the street at night and try to rob me, because I'm going to sit down and talk to you, and I want to be your friend. And I want to
yeah,
know why you're doing what you're doing. Here's the money. You got your money. Don't worry about it. And let's go get dinner. Invite your friends, and I want to talk to all of you guys. I'm not here to be your gang leader. I'm just here to say, guys, do you realize who you're really working for, and what you're really doing, and that you are powerful, and you should be using your power for good. And I'm here to challenge you to do that. And if you need help, and obviously you do, then I will
yeah,
help you. Yeah, that's it, man. I've used that philosophy for a long time now, and it
Hmm.
has never failed me. And the day it does, that's the day I'm supposed to go, man. And I'm gonna die like a warrior going home, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. But that it's one and the same. When you start stacking silver, when you learn what money is, and then you move to gold, and then you learn about the Federal Reserve and the creature from Jekyll Island, and you end up in Bitcoin,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and you're trying to figure out who you are as a person and which side was I supposed to be rooting for in Star Wars, and you start to question everything, then you're finally in a place where you can wake up and realize I am a man and I am no different from any other man that walks on this earth. I have no more or less value than any other person, and no other person has more or less value than me. And if I refuse to live that way, that they want me to live, I can actually live in a humane way and enjoy my fellow humans. Then
For
everywhere
sure.
I set my foot is my home. Every village is my village. Every
It
man
can
is my,
be.
yeah.
It can be.
Yeah, I go places I've been warned not to go uh, very recently. I was really warned. Something happened that was on the news here, and it stuck in my mind. And a woman lost her husband, and he died a hero here. And I
Okay.
said, told my driver, I said, hey, let's go to that village. Let's find that lady. I want to give her some money.
Yeah.
And I was told, yeah, you can't go there. They don't like outsiders. And this, and dude, we just go anyway. Yeah.
Hmm.
And guess what? Guess what? All the scary,
Hmm.
advertisements
Hmm.
and stuff I there set out, those are the best people. Those are the coolest people
Yeah, it
that
was all fake, wasn't it?
yes, like they were the nicest people in the world, and they couldn't believe that I was had thought of her. I don't know why, but when those thoughts are in my mind, I believe they're placed there by God, and that it's my job to relieve myself of that burden by going and following through and visiting the widow in her distress and relieving her of her distress to whatever degree I can. And you know, and yeah, and she doesn't even need much. She's in a great community and they've taken care of her. It's like, what a great situation. What a great testament to the strong bonds this community has. Sure, but they still live in that same trap you talked about, Darth, where who are they as their tribal identity? And they do fear outsiders. They do. They really don't want anybody coming in there and buying up houses and pushing them out and developing. And, they're
Yeah,
worried
yeah,
about,
yeah.
yeah. But
That, that,
generally, but and it's not a Christian community. It's a pretty devout Muslim community, and I had no trouble. They're
hmm.
great. We're great. We're good. It's all good. I met
Yeah.
the imam and everything. It's like, yeah, we're cool. It's like, are you Muslim? I'm like, no, I'm a Christian. I was like, oh, okay. Want to have tea? Sure.
Yeah, brilliant. That's great. That's a great story, really.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Uh, Yeah, but
Oh,
like the mindset to have to just wake up and like get to that next level and say, I don't have to be poor. I don't have to be unhealthy.
Yeah,
You can't, there's certain things you can't help, right? But there are things you can, and you should change the things that you can. And I should take better care of myself. I bench pressed 150% of my weight the other day for the first time, and I don't know how long. I'm 50. I'm so happy about that because I weigh 100 kilos.
wow,
Um,
brilliant.
yeah, I did put up 150. Man, I'm so stoked. But like, I'm trying to like be healthy, and
Yeah,
um,
yeah,
I'm not trying to have my kids have a hard time when they're living. They need to have some help from their dad. And but I'm also trying to be a kind person, and I don't have to be miserable. I don't have to be depressed. I don't have to take pills. I don't have to go talk to a stranger to help me feel better and pay them to do
yeah,
it. Yeah,
yeah,
I could just not be an asshole and just go make friends.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
which
We're
is a
all
lot.
yeah, we're all told it is. I mean, I'm kind of a loner as it is, but Yeah, it's all one and the same. And you're right, the metals guys, they're just one step away from just figuring out the Bitcoin. Whenever they get here, we love them. And the Bitcoin is coming from Romania. As soon as those people get access to those dollars, that's their fuck you to their government, and they're all going to take it
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because you can't drive around in villages without paved roads and see Bentleys every day and not get pissed off about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
It's true.
it's everywhere, bro. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. Yeah.
But unfortunately, as you might know a lot better than I do, this I realized at some point because I didn't know why I came in the UK in 2018, at the end of 2018. I didn't know. I just felt the system failed, and uh, I just felt it didn't work anymore. It just doesn't work. It's not. It's not. It's not what it's supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
But only from a. I only got that from an educational point of view. I've been to school all my life. I've done whatever, two masters, a PhD. I didn't finish the PhD because at some point I said, right, apparently there's no point, blah, blah, blah. And I said, right, I got to move. Where am I moving? I want to go to England because English is the, like, a language that we work with and I know it. And I'll just go there and start all over. My wife asked, what are you going to do? I don't know, picker, packer, sorter, cleaner, whatever. I'll start, whatever. Right. which I did for a year or so. And then obviously, you update yourself I went to school in here as well. And it's fine. Okay. But the main idea is I didn't know why. I realized a bit later, next year or so, when I really went into precious metals and I understood the fiat system, you know, and I realized later, right, uh, I ran away from Romania because the educational system failed me. I had to go 20 years to higher studies and get like a civil servant job,
Yep.
uh, which was not very good paid, but the
According to your
effort to,
category. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So I reached that point and I realized I could be the manager of this department in this civil service, and that's going to be it for me. Yeah, okay. I don't want my son to go through that. And I moved. And my wife was really upset. And, she went, listen, we don't know what's going on there. But at some point I said, listen, the whole system we're living in, it's not what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
It's not giving you silence. It's not giving you breaks. It doesn't. I used to read back when I was, from 12 to 20 something. But then when I got in my 30s, because I had to go to work, run that wheel all the time, all the time, all the time, I stopped reading and I didn't have time to relax. And it was all about work, 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 just to pay mortgages and just to, you know, um, really 90% of the people of this earth, really, nothing special there. But the system failed me and I came over here and then I realized, okay, precious metals, this, that, and I went into that. And then, the first time when you look into it and you find Nixon with the gold standard, 1971, and you go a little bit backwards and you find the Wooten Bread's
Yeah.
pact, and you go a little bit back and you find Jekyll Island, 1913 or whatever it was. You're thinking, oh, God, is wrecked up. Not just Romania, it's the whole world.
It
Okay,
is.
what am I doing?
Can I just butt in 1 second?
Go on.
I think Jeff Darth missed out a very important part of that. He was a
Possibly.
professional breakdancer.
Oh, yeah, that as well,
Aren't you a
of course.
professional breakdancer?
No, no, no. I was a proper,
That's me taking the
yeah, and
mickey, but
Andy knows this. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was a proper b-boy. I was 12,
Wow.
12, maybe even younger, 10. I was 10 years old, and there is breakdance 1, breakdance 2 with Ozone and T-Bone. Right, let's learn that. And I
Oh,
had my
ozone.
boys.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
knew
yeah,
it.
yeah. Yeah, and I had my boys, and we learned how to break dance, and we're doing shows in Day of the City shows. Do you know when there's they celebrate the Day of the City in different shows, and we were traveling, but we were young. We were like 12, 13, 14, 15. And I've done that for all the high school and this and that. But obviously, after high school, I had to go to uni. Things didn't go well with breakdancing. The whole team, we got, we had different stuff to do and this and that, but we still are in connect. We still keep things, every now and then we go on Facebook, hey, how you doing? This, that, yeah, it's all right.
I still see guys breakdancing sometimes when I'm traveling for money when I'm in like city centers. I still
Right.
I like last year there's a group of guys in Belgrade that do it very regularly.
Oh,
Um,
brilliant.
yep, I've seen it in Tbilisi. I've seen it in Budapest.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
also, yeah. I mean, maybe it's like all like post-communist countries just like have like still breakdancing buskers. Like it might be a
Hmm.
thing. I haven't seen any here in Tirana, but I don't go out much.
um,
That's so
yeah,
cool. Yeah.
it was,
Wow.
what was it? 1989.
Yeah.
Ceausescu dies. Big revolution. This, that. I was 7, 8 years old.
I love how
We
you
get,
just, I'm sorry. I love how you just say Ceausescu died.
well, yeah, you know
Dude.
what I mean. I'm,
Yeah.
I'm being I'm being polite. Okay,
Yeah.
let's put it that
Okay.
way.
All right. All right. Cool. I'll roll with that. Yeah. All right. We'll just
Yeah,
leave
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Let everybody else go to Google and do some reading. But
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. I'll leave it there. I'm not gonna say that he had this bricks idea back in 1978. Nah, no, just yeah, it's all right.
He died the way
Anyway,
most leaders
Ceausescu
in the
died
Balkans. Yeah.
1990s. We get back all those, Western civilization songs, movies, this and that were back in 74, 8, 5, 80s, 82. Hey, breakdance 1, breakdance 2, this, that, right? People are learning. Dan. Yeah, and I was right there. I was right there. I was lucky. I just catch up on the moment. And yeah, it was great times. It was good. You didn't care about anything. Breakdancing was about freedom, though.
Yeah.
Really was. When you were there, you were
Yeah.
all in. You were just feeling it. All the beat and everything. It was all right. It was
It
cool.
was it was such an anti-communist thing to do.
It was. And it
Yeah.
was. And as you know, Romania was a communist country, and all of these things that was coming on after the 90s. And wow, it was just, yeah. Well, anyway, I grew up from there, and then you end up to uni, and you grow up, and you become an adult, and you meet your love of your life, and you have a kid, and you realize the system is broken, and slowly but slowly, you go into precious metals, and then you realize still something is missing, and you don't know what it is, and you find it in Bitcoin, freedom, democracy, you know, deciding for yourself, peace, silence, and you think, right, this might be for me. Let's try it. And there we go.
Yeah,
We're
and
trying it.
we hope that more people, the more that people do, the more likely it is that it really works. And I think it's working. BlackRock wouldn't be buying it if it didn't work, and
Yeah.
governments wouldn't be using it if it didn't work. It's not
Yeah.
fake. It's just digital. It's a binary digital code, and people don't understand. It's hard for people to comprehend the fourth dimension of of the metaverse,
Yeah.
of the tech
Well,
metaverse. But it's there. and it's able to be touched by proxy in your life every day. We're using it right now to communicate.
Mm, yeah,
And no
yeah.
one says I don't believe in your computer, but I mean, but they think about the physical computer. They got to think about like the software, the phone,
Mm,
right? Like you got the software that you can't see, you can't touch. You rely on it every day for everything. We're already in a, the digital world. It's already here.
yeah,
It can't do everything. It can do a lot, but it can't do everything. But it can do a lot, and it can make three dimensions more efficient because now we get to use quantum entanglement, right? And
yeah,
entropy to our advantage and to reach through time and space and transmit a store of energy, which is Bitcoin.
mm.
I can, and
I
as soon as I get your address, I'm going to send you, 1,000 sats of energy
of
that was
energy.
sent. Yeah, that was sent to me by someone else. It's a representation of proof of work, right?
Yep, yep,
And
yep, yep.
that's energy from that work has been stored in a blockchain with an immutable supply. And therefore, that hard value that we associate with that can be expressed in a lot of different ways. And sometimes it's dollars or euros, or sometimes it's time, how much, like an hour of someone's time, or
Yeah,
sometimes someone else's time that built a car or that grew the crops, or but it's we're all producing value for the economy in a good or a service, and we store the excess of our labors in a way that can no longer be diluted through the malicious actions of unseen financial forces in the fiat system. That's what
yeah,
gold originally did for everyone for 6,000 years. But in
yeah,
1971, man, and the seeds of it were sown before that, but that's when the
yeah,
veil was
yeah.
lifted. And now everything that's transpired since then in the world, in the way of war or economic disruption, is literally the fruit of that poisonous tree, that decision to rob people of this of the ability to store their excess labors in value that wouldn't diminish, uh, sent an attack that disrupted societies. That the end of the Cold War, um, the fall of the Soviet Union, what's replaced it, how a lot of those political philosophies have kind of permeated the West in a very ironic way, like
Hmm.
civil war all over Africa, complete
Yeah.
destabilization in Latin America, Southeast Asia, Southern Asia, all the shit that's gone on in the Middle East. All of this is even the migration crisis out of North Africa into Europe. All of
Hmm.
it is fruit of the poisonous tree of the fiat currency. That's essentially the source of that trouble, which is really just the creation of evil men.
Um, on going forward with that, when you realize, right? You realize what the system is, and you realize what the financial system really is and what's doing to you. And most people, I believe, I think, I might be wrong, that's why they went into Bitcoin and also into precious metals, because obviously, right, let's stay here on the light side, because we'll go on the dark side in a minute, and I'll tell you why. Because I want to ask you a question. Every time, every time I speak to a family member, to a friend, to say, look, gold and silver, do you remember that? Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's always been, even our grandfathers, they know it doesn't, it just goes up in value because it keeps up with inflation. They know all these things. Okay, that's done and dusted. And most people realize it because it has historic value, I think. And that's why to some level, I think it's already implemented in the human brain that precious metals, yeah, 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 they're fine. Right. But then when you go to the next bit and say, right, look here, technology. Bitcoin, this, that. And the main principle says don't trust, verify all the time. Right, fair enough. But then some people come back at me and this is how we're gonna somehow, let's say we go on a dark side, right? And some people come back and say, yeah, but you can only verify to a certain point. You don't know those codes. You're not a programmer. You don't know what they are. I get it. All the people in the network, if they say no, it's not going to get implemented. Fair enough. But at some point, what if somebody comes in and says, yeah, we're trying to do this and this and this, and actually it's going to be something else because it's hidden in the code or whatever, on the whatever upgrade is going to be done. And really, you can't verify because you're not at that level of knowledge. You're not going to understand what's what. And you'll have to wait to see actually what is practically done and then to say no. And that's how you get rid of it, I want to say.
Yeah.
But
Well, people fear the unknown, but
yeah,
they also don't fear the unknown most of the time. I don't know how to parse the difference between when something unknown becomes fearful and when it becomes not fearful. Here's an example of an unknown that's not fearful. Nope. Most people that ride in the subway in big cities don't have a clue how that train is made. They don't know how to mine ore, smelt it down to create iron, weld it together to make steel, machine
yeah,
it to run an engine, right? Lay down the tracks, tunnel through the streets, right? Tunnel through the rocks to, make the, no one knows how the escalator works. No one knows how the elevator works. No one knows who the bricklayer was that put up the walls, but
yeah.
they still trust that even though they don't know.
I just want to say something to that.
Yeah.
Star Wars related, obviously. Palpatine said, the Dark Emperor, fear is a path to many abilities. So you're right there. Right,
Sure.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it can be.
It can be. Yeah. If the fear should drive you to knowledge, right?
Mm,
The
yep,
fear of the unknown should drive you to knowledge. But what you shouldn't allow it to do is drive you to permanent disability. Um, if you don't have the ability to learn all of the things it takes to make the subway work, at some point you're going to have to live in a community in a world where you can trust the guys that do.
exactly.
And
Exactly.
so most people that get on a subway don't have a clue what it takes to keep that going. Most people that get on an airplane don't even understand flight and how an aileron on an aircraft, the shape of the wing produces lift. Like they don't
Yeah,
understand like basic aerospace science, right?
yeah,
But that they still get on the airplane. And so most
exactly.
people don't even understand the fiat currency that screws them over, yet they trust that immensely and don't verify. And it's almost as though anything that disrupts our normal routine is where the fear kicks in. And what people fear is a change from that routine because there's this normalcy bias that we want to have, a recency bias that says it's okay, the experts are going to come in and fix COVID or whenever the power goes out, everybody always says, okay, well, I hope they get it back on. Well, who's they? And how are
Mm,
they any better or smarter than you? They're not. They're just regular people that are scrambling trying to figure it out, right? And
yep,
so
yep,
Bitcoin is the same way. Anybody can run a node, and if you really want to learn the code and get into it, you should. And there are an abundant level of resources available for people looking to do that. I would say if there was a wall that wouldn't allow people to see behind the curtain with Bitcoin, then the fear would be justified. But the difference with Bitcoin is that the code is open sourced. Anybody can read it.
Yeah.
Anybody can read the white paper. Anybody can
Yep.
read open source code and can and anybody can help produce and maintain open source code. And not everybody will, and that's fine. If their fear of that unknown disruptive technology paralyzes them from moving forward, that's
Yep.
unhealthy. That's unhealthy.
It
If
would
they
be.
if they look at it and say, that's a bridge too far for me, I'm going to live in the physical world only. Okay, I respect that. That to each
Yeah.
their own. Everybody should be able to make their own decision. But I think that the reason it's taken so long for Bitcoin to permeate in the consciousness of people is the very systems that benefit from fiat, whether they be developing country oligarchs or the biggest guy, the biggest bank in the biggest city in the biggest
Yeah.
country.
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't want to have to relearn how to steal from people in a new way in a system that they don't think they can get away with it, and they don't know what the hell else to do for a living. So they're faced with an extinction level event, right?
Yep.
I can't steal from the people anymore and buy a G wagon and six villas. So how the hell am I gonna? Gee,
Exactly.
but even those guys buy the Bitcoin. But
Exactly. They do.
my point is the reason it has been taking so long to take off is there's not been a wall that said you can't look at it. It's been the opposite. It's been no, it's free and open for everyone. And scarcity creates value, right? In gold, right? In platinum, silver,
Of
scarcity
course.
creates value. Well, when things are abundant, they don't have as much of a perceived value. And because information about Bitcoin is abundant and because it's open sourced, it's not perceived as having value. And the systems that have profited from the fiat system, the people and the institutions that have prospered from the fiat system, they know better than to try to fight it because every time they have, it's just grown stronger as a result. So they stopped shooting the laser at the animal that grows every time it gets hit. And now they're sitting on the sidelines going, what the hell do we do? And they've started buying. And it's this big monster, and it's going to liberate people.
Yeah.
It's going to end a lot of the shenanigans. It's going to restore the ability for regular men and women to store the value of their excess labor in a way that won't be inflated away or won't be debased. It's just the hardest code in the world, and it's run by 70,000 nodes, 23,000 public nodes, about 70,000 nodes in total that are
Yeah.
reinforcing consensus distributed across the entire planet and then mined as well uh, with the hardest encryption ever known to man.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
the possible combinations for a 24 word seed phrase? There's
Hmm.
not even there's not even a number for it. We can't
Yeah.
even express the number in words. It's that
Exactly.
large. And so yeah, so who was this guy or this group of guys that created it? You know, do you really want to know, and would you care at this point? Does it matter? Some people will say
No,
yes,
it
but it
doesn't.
doesn't
It actually
because
doesn't.
it's here. Doesn't matter who
Exactly.
invented it doesn't matter who invented the rifle. We still all have rifles. The technology's out. This is Pandora's box, right?
Hmm.
Doesn't matter who
Yep.
invented fire. It doesn't matter. Fire is here and we all fucking use it, right? Still, I can go down to the Zagara and get a sausage right now. They're using
I've
fire.
seen I've seen the documentary. I think it came out in 2024. Who is Satoshi, wasn't it? But that famous journalist from UK. And he interviewed, the cyberpunks mostly, or whoever was left out of them. who were the original list mail from Satoshi when the first block was
Yeah.
created, and so on and so on. And I follow up the documentary, and it pretty much ended up with the same idea, as in, right, it doesn't matter if Satoshi was a guy, it doesn't matter if Satoshi was a group, it doesn't matter who created it. What matters is here, and it's now.
And you have to learn to use it. Right?
Yeah,
There's tribes that when fire came out, I'm sure there was a group of people that said, "Hey, listen, you can really hurt yourself with fire. It's hot. It'll burn your house down.
yeah,
That shit's out of control. I don't want nothing to do with it. We're not going to be fire people, okay? We're going to
yeah,
go,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
okay, have fun,
yeah,
bro. Like,
yeah.
cool.
Have
Then the
that raw
we
meat, it's all right.
Yeah, that's right. Go carnivore, right? No one's
Yeah,
mad.
yeah,
Then the wheel guy comes around, shows everybody what a wheel is. People are like, fuck no, no, not using that wheel. Nope. If my horse can't carry it, I'm not interested. Okay,
um,
this is the but when was the last time humanity got something this substantial in change? It wasn't. I guess you could say it's the internet, but not really. Internet was just a technology increasing the efficient transmission and storage of information. It just made
yeah,
it more efficient, right? But this is a transference into that system of our store of value in a way that can't be debased. This application of I guess that fourth dimension of cyberspace is is going to, I mean, the internet didn't topple governments, right? The
yeah.
Bitcoin is literally going to topple corrupt governments.
Mm.
That's where it's headed.
It's
Literally going to redraw the lines on the map. It's going to raise up nations and tear them down. And in this fourth turning, while this is happening, there will
yep,
be there will be great times and there will be terrible times.
of course.
That's
But
That's just the way it has to be. Because if it wasn't that disruptive, if it wasn't that real, it wouldn't do those things. That it does those things is its own validation.
it's
That
so well explained in um Bitcoin standard when you get the explanation with the guys that lives on an island and they have pebbles of money, and then the industrial revolutions comes in, and on the other island, on the next island, they were just producing it in mass because technology came over. And everyone in the island with the pebbles, they had mountains of pebbles behind their houses, and they couldn't use it anymore because it was not rare anymore. It was
yeah.
something that was just there, useless.
Yeah.
And that is so well explained. Unbelievable. I love that book. And whoever's listening to this, honestly, guys, just have a read. Have a read. Bitcoin Standard is absolutely amazing. It's absolutely amazing. I think it really is an eye opener into understanding what the fiat system is actually now, and what Bitcoin can do and has the potential to do, and is already doing it, because we've seen the proof
Yeah.
already. So many countries, so many banks adopting it, and this and that. But
The first well when the war in Ukraine started, um, a lot of people used Bitcoin to move wealth, to either leave Russia or
yep,
to leave Ukraine.
yep,
And banking in the places where they landed was difficult to get their money from their home to their new place. Bitcoin was used by a lot of people for that. And Bitcoin's used still by Russia to procure things. It's used by
of
Ukraine.
course. Yeah.
It's used by people in those war industries to steal money and hide money. But the blockchain is immutable. If you commit a crime on a blockchain, you're the dumbest person in the world
Yeah,
because there's
that's true.
22,000 active copies of your crime distributed
Yeah,
over the earth. You
there's
know,
22,000 cops after you.
you are going to jail. Yeah.
Absolutely. Straight
and,
away.
it's going to hurt the whole time. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You're one click away, sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like once the full realization of that really hits, like there's no point in being a malactor in Bitcoin or any blockchain. It's just like you're gonna be found out, dude. We're gonna know. It's
Mm.
nothing. It's so in that sense, that's kind of the anti-libertarian application of Bitcoin can come up with the immutability of the blockchain can be used by governments to control money to a degree. Yeah, especially through a stable coin. But
Yeah,
the traceability not only applies to you not committing a crime and stealing and not paying your taxes, it also applies to the government can't or like Jeffrey Epstein, right? The billionaire guy. You can't make payments to Jeffrey Epstein and like nobody knows about it. Like that's going to be known. It's on the
yeah.
blockchain, it's recorded forever. You sent that
To
guy.
me,
Yeah.
to me, the kind of the tipping point, the most important point to me when I started to realize what Bitcoin means a couple of years ago. But I never got, like I said, I never got into it properly, just really recent. But the tipping point was when I heard all the money, all the control, all the power to control the money is getting away from the governments and from
Yeah.
the states. And that's going to be something that actually it will belong to the people.
That's right.
Uh,
Fix the money, fix the world.
yeah. And to me, if you go back, you realize there's always been two countries that sort of sorted this out. The US came with the dollar, and London, UK came with the infrastructure,
Yeah.
the banks, and everything. And that was it. Ever since Bretton Woods was set up, it was a done deal. They, I think they knew what they're gonna do, how they're gonna do it for the next 100 years, and so on and so on. You go back in history and you realize every coin, every fiat currency that was the best in the world at some point, it has 125 years to live. At
Yep.
first, it was the, you name it, the Spanish escudo, when everyone was fighting on the sea to get supremacy and this and that. And then it was the Dutch, whatever. And then it came the pound, and then it came the dollar. And now we are at this point where we hear this news that BRICS is going to do something, whatever they are trying to. Their currency apparently is backed up with 40% only of gold. And in all this environment, you see this thing, Bitcoin, called AKA digital gold. You have to at least have to think about it. Okay, you don't need to be a believer, but to me, it's like, why? Can you just think about it? Just roll it through your head, see how it goes. Just you know, do that exercise, and then let's see if
It's
if you
absolutely yeah.
feel it, you don't feel it, and if you fear it, it's fine. It's still fine because fear gets you to knowledge. It gets you to that abilities to search for it, to look for it, to see how it goes, to see what it can do, to make your brain a little bit understanding. It did for me. At least it did
It's
for me.
going to
It
be
done something to me. But
The network is already being used. It's going to be used. It's going to
Yep.
continue. And the world is going to fragment. BRICS is probably going to be successful.
Possibly.
And it's going to be successful. And they're going to de-dollarize. But the BRICS system and the Western US dollar system are still going to have cross-border trade.
Mm,
And how are they going to settle that trade? Because the China doesn't want a US dollar stablecoin, and no one in the US wants Chinese stablecoin.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
you can send gold, but you have to put it on a plane, fly it, be
Yep.
melted down and assayed, and then minted into bars, and then stamped. That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And you could just do a 10-minute transaction in Bitcoin of any amount less than 2.3 trillion currently. And that's settled within 10 minutes in a permissionless way, trustless way. And so the use case for gold is not going away. Bitcoin is additive to that use case, especially in a world that's going to fragment into major regions and in areas of influence. I think BRICS is not the end game for the East or for the Chinese sphere of influence. I think it's just the
Hmm.
first version of what's going to come out.
Yep. Yep.
And the next version behind that will probably enable regional payments in different regional blocks of countries with some
Do
type
you
of,
think,
yeah, go
do
ahead.
you think we're gonna end up in a gold Bitcoin synergy?
I do. And I've actually talked about that quite a bit and done some discussions with some other thinkers online about it. That at some point there will be a singularity between gold and Bitcoin.
Mm,
One does not eat the other. I just, it's not happening.
yep.
Um, the physical representation of something that does not corrode, degrade over time is gold.
Yep.
And nothing's better than gold, right? It's the king. And the digital representation of that is Bitcoin. And until they're at par with each other, Bitcoin's not done growing. And so Bitcoin's going to grow until it's on par with Bitcoin, gold, by market cap. I think that's the bear case for Bitcoin. It has to at least equal gold.
Yeah.
Some people say, well, gold will then go away. It'll just be for jewelry and Rolexes. Or no, but no. There's still genuine, you know, that supply of gold is still necessary
Of
for
course.
some elasticity in the money supply. Yes, gold can inflate based on mining output. Mining output varies based on the efficiency of mining, right?
Mm,
Take the asteroid talk out of the equation, just on the Earth with the mining, gold
yeah.
kind of regulates itself that way. When it's, when it's too cheap, um, people can't afford to mine it, so they don't. And then it gets rare, and then it's expensive. Then you can afford to mine it, and then you mine some till it's no
Yeah.
longer. That provides some elasticity, very minor elasticity, but proof of work elasticity in the money supply of gold. And about half of that's going to go to jewelry anyway. It's not going to go to be used as money. Although jewelry is used as money in a lot of places. A lot of
Exactly.
economists forget that. Um, but the rigid nature of Bitcoin in its 21 million hard capped make it the preferable store of value and the preferable means of exchange because it can be teleported across the earth instantly and it never degrades and it will never increase in supply. It's very inelastic. It's the hardest capital ever known to man. So that has its relationship. But I do think gold maintains its value. I think gold actually goes up in value. I think part of the stablecoin bill, the fiat system coming under stress in order to get the digital currency to go everywhere and deal with the debt to get people to buy the bonds. Bonds have to
Mm,
pay a higher yield. And in order for long duration bonds to pay a higher yield, they probably have to be backed by gold or Bitcoin. And so if we're
there you
going to
go.
back long duration gold, long duration bonds in gold and allow people overseas to buy those, gold still has to be a thing. But when you're trying to offset your debt to GDP, if I'm the US Treasury Department, it's George Gammon, if you follow him, George Gammon brought up this point the other day. If the Treasury Department in the US at any moment can just remonetize that gold and sell
Yeah,
it to the Fed. And they you know what else they can do? They can reprice the gold.
of
People say,
course.
how can the Treasury reprice gold? Well, they can't reprice it lower. No one can do that, right? No
Of
one,
course.
but you
Yep.
could reprice it higher. All you've got to do is go out and put out a market bid at 10K an ounce. And guess what the price is? And the whole world, it's 10K an
Yep.
ounce.
Yep.
Because that's what that guy's paying. Why would I sell it to you for 3 when he's going to give me 10?
Of course.
Right.
The
So first,
repricing is right there.
yeah, I
Guys,
just yeah, just go out to the people in your country and say, hey, listen, folks, if you want to turn in your gold, we'll pay you $20,000 an ounce. Tax free.
See?
Oh, people run out and sell the gold. Well, now the price of gold's 20K. So you go into Fort Knox and whatever bars happen to be left there, you
Yeah, yeah.
literally up rehypothecate those bars at 20K an ounce and walk over to the Federal Reserve and say, what national debt?
Oh,
Or at
yeah.
least take out half of it, right? And
Yeah.
say, well, our debt to GDP is only 50%. So we're going to sell these long duration treasuries to institutions and big investors in foreign companies and other countries, and they're going to hold those in exchange for gold that will pay them. That are, I say long duration, I mean like 50-year bonds. Like you're never going to
Mm.
get your. It's never going to happen, but people are going to buy it and be part of the system. Is if you buy these bonds, then you have access to our stable coins. And you can print the stable coin, but it's got to be a US based company and it's got to buy the short duration treasuries. And it's just this big game. That's how they're going to. Gold is not going away. They need the gold. And there's a big supply of gold in private hands. And there's a big supply of Bitcoin in private hands. The easiest way to get people to unlock supply is to increase the price. If Bitcoin
Yeah.
went to $20 million tomorrow, I'm pretty sure a few people they do a little bit of selling.
No, not just a little bit, I guess.
Yeah. That's an extreme example, but that's the point is that when
Yeah,
the
yeah.
market says this is priced that much higher and the rest of the pricing in the economy has not been adjusted to this new
Mhm.
price, there's a windfall there's a time of arbitrage there where I'm going to sell this gold, get this huge tax-free gain, and go buy a house.
The the gold and silver buggers are already feeling it. Uh, they
It's
they
coming.
have this feeling because
It's coming.
it,
Yeah.
even on YouTube, um, two in one, two in one from US is one of the biggest gold YouTubers,
one
along
to
with
one,
Salvate Metal. One,
one
one
to
to
one,
one.
one to one. Yeah.
Okay, 1 to 1 and Salvate Metal and so on. Uh, Everyone's saying by the end of this year, we're looking at 4,000 per ounce.
Um, yeah,
So
possibly.
Can I just
Yeah,
say something?
yeah.
I've got to go and pick my son up soon, so I'm going to have to wrap this up. And I really don't want to because that's the first time I've sat through 2.25 hours and hardly said a word because I've really enjoyed the conversation.
I think, yeah,
Can we sort of just give it 5 minutes? Is that okay?
yeah.
Thank you.
Four
yeah,
days, 4 days possible. My prediction is it chops until September, October. Then there's probably a liquidation event in the markets, deleveraging. takes an ass beating for a little bit, and then it moves to 10, 15, 20K over the next 18, 24 months after that. So probably gold starts moving in February.
Yep.
And so I think until then to really stack it up. And I trade the Bitcoin to gold ratio. So if Bitcoin to gold goes 100 ounces to one Bitcoin, I will sell some Bitcoin and buy gold
Hey,
immediately.
that could work.
It
Just
definitely would
saying.
work.
I sold gold. I've done this trade a few times, a few cycles.
Mm, yeah,
Works. Yeah.
yeah,
Guys,
yeah, it
I
does.
can't believe that 2.25 hours has gone. Well, 2 hours, 2 hours 20 minutes. It's just mad. I knew if you were both on, that'd be it. That would be
That
it.
was a trap, and you knew it.
Yeah, definitely. I said to my wife, I think Darth's coming on tonight, which is really cool. But if Jeff comes on as well, that's it. Me finished. That's me finished. All I need to do is just sit here and listen, and I've just been engrossed. The annoying thing is throughout your conversation, I've been sitting here just looking down at my notepad, and I have so many questions over the subjects that you've brought up together
Oh, I have
that
so many questions to Jeff and to you.
I would absolutely love to be able to readdress this conversation again with the three of us.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm,
yeah. That would be great. Yeah.
I'm here. Sorry.
That's okay. Yeah, dudes. But I've
I'm
let you.
available anytime.
I knew you would both get on, and yeah, it's an amazing conversation. I can't thank you both enough. And with these
Sure.
conversations, it's so cool to be able to.
Best in the Balkans, Darth. Did you ever smoke the Corellias?
Oh my God, what are they?
Oh, I
Sorry.
heard about it.
Sobranis if you're closer to Russia. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
One of the greatest things I love about this sort of thing is how it can bring just people together and just talk. But even me sitting there, it's just, as I said, I've got so many questions on the different things you was both talking about. It just makes me sit there and think, oh, what about this? Never thought of that. Oh, well, what about that? Could this happen? Could that happen? So I know I haven't said a lot, but hopefully people that watch this will go through the same experience, and the knock-on effect will hopefully bring more people into this game.
yeah,
What
I'm
do you
down for it anytime. I'd love to talk to you again, Darth. You're awesome. And please send your address. I got sats for you.
Listen, guys, this was I enjoyed this so much, and I love this space that Andy created. It's absolute. I can just talk. I can just talk with somebody that's the same minded and kind of have the same ideas and this and that, and I get to learn so much. That's the thing. Just listening to the other person is like, yeah, this is good. This is good. But yeah, Jeff, thank you so much for having this conversation. And Andy, thank you again so much for creating this space so we can have this opportunity to do this. And oh my God, yeah, I'll do this again. Well, yeah, definitely.
My pleasure, man. This is what I love. I love to just have the space for people to just express and go where we need to go. Because there's so many believe it or not, if I'd wrote down all the things that I was thinking of, there'd be so many nuggets of information. If people are ready, obviously, if people are ready to listen to it, very powerful stuff. What you was talking about, extremely, extremely. There's a lot of knowledge there, just in general conversation. So it's great. Love it. It's out there now. It'll be out there in the universe for people to see. It's
Hey
really
ho.
cool. Really cool, man. I love it. Absolutely love it. So thank you both. And yeah, if we can, hopefully Jeff seems to be a nice little regular popping on. And Darth, yeah, you too as well, mate. I know like work for all of us can be a little bit of an issue, but you're more than welcome, mate. You're more than
Thank
welcome.
you.
Absolutely
I'll
more.
be back, I promise.
I'll be back. I like that.
You know.
I'll be back. I'll be back, inshallah, or whatever, as they say.
Guys, you take good care of yourselves. Thank you so much for sharing this space with me and everyone that's prepared to watch it. And yeah, can't wait for the next one. I really can't. And keep in touch, yeah.
All right. Traveler Jeff, ciao.
Ciao. See you later.
Take care, guys. See you later.
Take care. Bye bye.